WWE is reportedly making a major change to NXT, but also in addition to that, it looks like WWE is going to be introducing another surprising call up to the main roster. Where that person's going to go, what I think should happen, probably won't happen, but we're going to talk about it. Also, in addition to that, Alberto Del Rio talking about a WWE return. It's all coming up right here on The Angle Show. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. Hopefully everybody had a very nice, enjoyable Christmas. I want to kick things off with Alberto Del Rio. Now, in the past, it's actually not shocking at all to hear that Alberto Del Rio has talked about coming back to WWE. And then, of course, WWE acquired AAA, which obviously made things very interesting because he was contracted to AAA. WWE offered new contracts to everybody as part of their acquisition, and then Alberto Del Rio left the company. Well, now he's doing an interview with La Tierra Lucha Libre. And in this interview, he's actually admitted that he is still in contact with WWE, and they're just trying to figure out the business side of things, essentially, for him to come back to the company. Now, of course, this could mean that Alberto Del Rio, if he is being truthful, could be coming back for AAA, or maybe on the off chance that WWE would use him as part of WWE and AAA together, which we have seen talent like, so many of the AAA talent have actually already appeared on NXT television. You understand my gist. Now, at the end of the day, Alberto Del Rio is a very, very impossible subject matter. I mean, let's just call it what it is. This is a guy who we have seen year over year have return rumors, and then next thing you know, this guy ends up, not coming back. And then we hear sources from WWE come out, and those reports pretty much indicate WWE is shutting it down. So it's like the boy who cried wolf, right? In a way, it's kind of like that. But the interesting situation with Alberto Del Rio and what makes it so hard is the fact that Del Rio is actually very much loved in Mexico. Like, to the point where when Vikingo won the belt, I mean, it wasn't met with a great response because the people really do love Del Rio. But on the flip side of that, you have Del Rio, who is a very controversial person. We've seen the negative headlines. We've seen everything that's been said. There's just a lot there to unpack and uncover. And I think that's the reason why WWE has been very hesitant. But then, of course, at Triple Mania during the summer, we saw Rey Mysterio tease the return of Del Rio. So you kind of wonder if WWE is going to do this. I don't think so, but can we really trust his words? That's the real question. Speaking of major, major changes and major signings and major returns, Joe Hendry was obviously signed to WWE earlier this year. And what's been really interesting is we've seen Joe Hendry now exclusively on WWE programming. However, it turns out that there's actually interest for Joe Hendry to not be in NXT much longer because according to WrestleVotes Radio, which is part of Fightful Select, they've come out and reported that there are internal discussions that have taken place in the company to have Joe Hendry put into the main roster moving forward. The report also noted that the USA Network has been very keen on getting Joe Hendry for SmackDown. Now, this is very interesting because when he signed with WWE, Fightful had previously reported that Joe Hendry was going to be given a main roster deal. Then, in addition to that, we saw him appear on SmackDown's broadcast. Basically, well, it hasn't been revealed yet because it was pre-taped, but he is part of SmackDown. There is this belief that Joe Hendry is going to be full-time, and that might actually begin tonight. This is interesting because Joe Hendry, I've been very vocal about Joe Hendry. I love the guy's talent. I think he's talented. I think the Joe Hendry shtick is very much a comedy thing, which is okay. I'm fine with comedy. But I just think this guy is capable of so much more as a serious character. And I don't feel like WWE nor TNA have ever really tried to etch into that a little bit. So for me, seeing Joe Hendry get called up to SmackDown, it would be nice. And I'm excited to see what they do with him and The Miz and things of that nature. But at the same time, too, I want to see this guy being given something serious. And I don't think WWE is going to do it. And I don't think USA Network wants Joe Hendry on SmackDown to be some sort of character that he's not. I think they wanted to take advantage of this thing. I don't even know what you call it. This thing that we see with Joe Hendry. Like, this is a guy who literally, it's like a walking meme. And I say that in like a good way. Like, it's a walking meme. It's like, I believe in Joe Hendry, bop, bop, you know, the social media clips, it brings attention and things of that nature. I just think if you're looking at SmackDown and you look at the United States Championship picture, you can have something really special with Joe Hendry there. The guy can wrestle. He's not a bad wrestler, and he could do character stuff. But I would like to see something more serious. Ilya Dragunov, you know, I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but Ilya Dragunov is a hell of a U.S. champion. And you just look at all these things that are going on. You could really build something special there. But I think it requires talent to be treated in a more serious manner. I don't think Joe Hendry is as a character, can really be treated anything much more than comedy, which is fine. And there's a lane for that, but I would like to see more. And eventually that's what I would like to see. So if they're going to fast track him to the main roster, that's fine. But I don't think people are going to stick around with the shtick for a long time. Speaking of sticking around for a long time, well, maybe NXT is not going to be doing that at the Performance Center because apparently they are having discussions to put NXT more on the road. In 2025, we've seen them do it a little bit more often, but it hasn't been as big of a expansion. But there is a new report from WrestleVotes Radio on Fightful Select that WWE is considering increasing the number of NXT television episodes taped and filmed on the road in 2026. Now, the report states that the primary motivation for this is actually because of they want to give developmental talent the more experience in performing in different environments, which, by the way, is a very smart thing because a lot of these kids in the Performance Center don't have a wrestling background. So different cities, different crowds, different venues. It's a work of art. It is not easy. They need that experience. And so basically WWE is hoping that they can give their rising stars these kind of reps. And on top of that, it brings the NXT brand to more markets. But even better, the CW network has actually been very on board with this plan. The report even noted that they are fully on board with this plan moving forward. And they actually believe that NXT becoming a full touring show would be beneficial for the broadcast. So I actually agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I think the Performance Center should just strictly be used for Evolve. And I would like to see NXT move to smaller venues, which, by the way, AEW has proven to us you can do these smaller venues. It doesn't need to be 5,000, 10,000 people. You can do stuff with smaller crowds and these theaters and things of that nature. I would like to see NXT do it more often. That seems to be a major change that WWE is going to be making. But when that happens, would you now consider NXT to truly be the third brand? I think that opens up a debate. Ladies and gentlemen, that is The Angle Show.